Good morning, Pawn family. I'm out for my run. I'm going to do 6 miles today. I do 6 miles 3 times a week. And I went to sleep last night really late. I was doing some work. And a thought came to my mind, and I wanted to share that thought with you all right now. You see, on all the forums and chats and groups, and in my group, the Mastermind, obviously redeems have been through the roof, and sales have gone through the roof, right? And the truth is that you probably have more cash than you've had in a long time. You probably have reserves at a level that you've never had before. But my question to you is this: which account has more in it? Are you just seeing your cash rise but your health decline? Are you just seeing your cash rise but your relationship decline? Are you just seeing your cash rise but your mindset decline? And so my question to you is, if your bank account is growing, take a look at your bank account, then take a look at your health. Take a look at your, the vault, the cash vault, and then take a look at your relationship and see what's happening. Because as pawnbrokers, many times for many years, we've just been taught to succeed on the line. We've just been taught to succeed at the counter. But rarely are we taught to succeed in our mind, body, relationships, and everything else that makes us up as a leader. For years in the pawn shop, Morris is watching this, I was overweight, I was sluggish, I was tired, I wasn't focused. I wouldn't run 6 miles, that's for sure. It made me money, yeah, it did. And is that important? Yes, it is. But at the same time, my relationship was being broken. My body was being broken. So while I may have been wealthy, in cash or growing a store, my relationships and my health was broken, was broke. And as I strive to push my pawn balance up or my sales up, I wasn't striving to make my relationships and my health a priority, because all that matters in the end, when you want to leave your legacy, is that health in those relationships. My father, at the age of 58, was diagnosed with Parkinson's and dementia. Not his fault, obviously. But all that money and all that hard work and all those years of killing himself, it served for one purpose, which was to have money for the caregivers. But today, if you ask him if he can go back in time, and I remember a conversation I was having with my rabbi, that my father went to my rabbi when he was diagnosed, and he said, I was just getting ready to slow down. I was just getting ready to enjoy life. Now, I'm not asking you to slow down. On the contrary, especially during these times, I'm asking you to pick it up a notch. What I mean by pick it up a notch is, don't just work on your business, but work on yourself. Don't just work on your pawn balance or your sales or your process, but work on your mind and your body and your relationships, because those are just as important. Growing up in the pawn business, going to all these shows and conferences and expos and all these things, never did we have a speaker or rarely do we have somebody talk about how to have that great health and those great relationships while being an entrepreneur. So my thought process was, all that matters is to be a great entrepreneur. Now, there's a big difference between being a great pawnbroker and being a great entrepreneur. Let me tell you the difference. A great pawnbroker writes amazing loans, has a great loan balance, has a successful business. An entrepreneur knows how to scale his business or her business so that they have time to be with their loved ones, so they have time to run at 6 miles, so that they have time to enjoy the money that they're making. I'm going to move this way because the sun's right there. Now I want you to ask yourself the question: are all your areas of life as good as your cash reserves at the moment? Now I understand, I know that we don't want those cash reserves, we want them out in pawn, right? But are all those areas of life that we're talking about, relationships and health, when you truly dig down deep, are they as good as the cash reserves you have at the moment? Answer that question. Be courageous and post down in the comments. Because for a lot of you, it's not going to be the truth. For a lot of you, and this is a palm bomb, all you're looking at is your palm business. When you should also be looking at your relationships, your health, and your mental state, right? Your mind growth. Growing your mind. Because without it, what's about to come might break you. What I mean by that is there's going to be so much happening in your stores. You might have to pivot the way you do business. Nobody knows what's going to happen. I'm really sorry. We can all determine, say, but nobody really knows. But when you work on your healthy relationships and your mindset, what I do promise you is that you'll be more focused so that when those loans start coming around, people will come to you and not your competition. Because if you think that those loans are going to come back to you, let's say you had a $200,000 loan balance and now you're down to 125. If you think, if you're just going to wait and 75K is going to come back to you, that's a losing mindset. Because when you realize that the competition is out there, and if they're working harder than you are, if they're working smarter than you are, if they're building a better culture, a better mindset, a better strategy, then to be honest with you, you might not get it back. And you might sit there 6 months from now, a year from now, behind the counter thinking, hey, why isn't my pawn loans, why didn't they come back? Why aren't I where I was, February of 2020? Why? And you start asking yourself, why, over and over again. And the reason is because you didn't take this opportunity to grow. You didn't take this opportunity to lead. You didn't take this opportunity to learn how to market and strategize in your business so that those loans come back to you. And while those loans come back to you, you have an amazing relationship with your spouse and your kids. You have an amazing fitness, right? Mindset and body. Because that's what being a pawn leader is. Pawn leaders aren't just about metrics and procedures and strategies. Pawn leaders are about building incredible relationships. Pawn leaders are about building incredible health, both body, mind, and spirit, and also kicking ass in business. So let me know where your focus is at the moment. Let me know how you're doing in those things. Because the one thing I'm here to do is to transform the pawn industry by transforming the lives and the businesses of the people in it. That's just not you, the owner. I want to get something straight. I'm here to transform the lives of the people working in your teams, because their mindset is just as important as your mindset. And if you're not helping them gain that mindset during this time, they won't be able to focus and produce the way you want them to produce. They won't be able to focus and produce the way you expect them to produce because you're paying them. Ladies and gentlemen of the pawn world, if you're just looking at your numbers, you're missing 90% of the perspective. If you're just looking at your procedures, you're missing 90% of the perspective, because this has to do with a lot more than just an Excel spreadsheet. If you want to win, you do things differently. If you want to win, you up-level your leadership, marketing, and strategy, which is exactly what we work on in the Pawn Leaders Mastermind and the Alliance. And why am I so passionate about this? Because for years, I saw the pawn industry and people in the pawn industry suffering from bad health, divorces, messed up relationships, but they had money. Everybody looked at them and said they're successful, but behind the doors there was alcohol abuse and there was lots of stuff that I hated seeing. And at the time I couldn't do anything about it, but today's different. So if you're with me, type in leader. If you're courageous enough to do something different with your life, your pawn business, your relationships, and your health, type leader down below. If you want to make a difference in your business, your life, and in your team, type leader down below. Don't be shy. This isn't a moment to be shy. This is a moment to lead like never before. You've never experienced something like this. So for somebody to tell you that, oh, this is what's going to come about, no, the only thing that you can do is lead at the moment and grow that leadership to a level that you've never had before, that you never thought you needed before, because this is the time that you need it. This is the time that your team needs it. This is the time that your community needs it. This is the time that your family needs it more than ever. This is the time to not just be a pawnbroker, but to be a pawn leader. Because there's many pawnbrokers out there, but there are few pawn leaders. And those pawn leaders, and shout out to the mastermind members watching, are working day in and day out, setting goals, setting commitments, working out, eating healthy, working on their relationships, as well as working on their business as they should. Because the legacy that you leave isn't just about money. The legacy that you leave is about how you led during your time here, how you took care of yourself during your time here, how much effort you put into your relationships during your time here. Because you don't want that tombstone just to read, great pawnbroker. You know, I was born in 1980, and God willing, I'll live to be 120 years healthy. But that line in the middle, that I'm sure you've heard other people talk about, that's what matters. What you do in that line in the middle. And there are some people in the pawn industry who are really stepping it up and helping their communities, helping out their teams, and doing something incredible. And there are some of you who are just playing defense, who are just waiting and hoping you're standing behind the counter, that those doors open up magically and people run through. That those doors open up magically and the pawn balance is just going to grow. But that's not the case. You have to do more work than ever on your leadership, marketing, and strategy. 3 balls, ladies and gentlemen. Right there, 3 balls. Leadership, marketing, and strategy. And so with that, I'll leave you. And if you're ready to lead, write leader below. If you're ready to lead, write leader below. And you've seen a shift in the way I'm speaking because it saddens me to see people. I saw somebody who reached out to me January 2019 and said, Yigal, I want to work with you. And I said, sure, here you go. This is what it is. This is the price. And they said, oh, no. I looked at their Google page last night. 2.5-star review, Google page, 37. People talking so much shit about their pawn shop that it's probably costing them a lot more money today than what it would have been to invest. It's probably costing a lot more money to, inaction costs you more money than action. Inaction costs you more money than action. And I hope that some of you listening to this realize that the fact that you are inactive, that you're not waking up, that you're not getting out there and doing what you said that you were going to do, that you're not holding yourself accountable or your team accountable. That's the biggest thing about this. It's not just about numbers and Excel spreadsheets. It's about holding people accountable, especially yourself. Especially yourself. Because if you're not accountable, why would your team be accountable? Your team does what they do the way you do everything. And I'm going to repeat that. Your team does what they do the way you do everything. If you're unorganized, your team is going to be unorganized. If you're not leading, your leadership won't lead. If you're scattered and you're not making commitments, your team is going to be the same thing. And then expecting them to do differently because you pay them is ludicrous. Expecting different from your team because you pay them, but you're not willing to be the way you want them to be, is ludicrous. If you want them to step up, it's time you step up. If you want them to lead, it's time you lead. If you want them to do what they're getting paid for, which I hear from pawnbrokers all the time, then it's time you do what you're getting paid for. Picture this. Picture that you have a board of directors and they sit down with you and they're going to give you a review of what you're doing and how you're doing it. Do you deserve the salary that you're making? Do you deserve the perks and the dividends that you're getting today? And if not, it's time to reconsider. So write leader in the comments. I'm going to go on my run. Love you all. I'll talk to you soon. Don't forget to check out powerupppawn.com. That's the online event that we're having for pawnbrokers. The first ever online event. 21 speakers, 7 days straight. And no, you don't have to be there all day long. It's going to be amazing. Love you all. I'll talk to you soon.